American Fugitive by Shingo Zhang. Chapter 11 East Lake Park. Luo Yanfang's beige car entered the parking lot near the gate of East Lake Park. Moments later, she and Ren-Yee walked toward the gate. He turned and looked back. She said, "What are you looking at? I felt someone was following us." She also looked back, and didn't see anyone suspicious, just tourists. She took his arm. "How about you treat me as a sister, and I treat you as a brother?" Ren-Yee said. "Okay." Although he agreed with her, Ren-Yee was still uneasy about the situation. This should be the time to run away, not to tour a park with the wife of the director of a police bureau. Yanfang was in a good mood. She said excitedly, "I never had a brother. Now I have one." He held her hand. "You are a good sister." It was a weekday. There weren't many people in East Lake Park. The two arrived at the edge of the lake. Ren-Yee said in amazement, "East Lake is still so beautiful." Xingyin Pavilion. The two walked along the lake towards the Xingyin Pavilion, on the west side of the lake. It was named after Xingyin Zai Pan, meaning composing poem near the edge of water, in Chu Yuan's poem, Chu Ci Fisherman. Yanfang saw several old-style wooden rowing boats moored between wooden posts on the waterfront, waiting for tourists. The boats were privately owned, each had a large awning on top, and could seat 6 adults comfortably. Yanfang waved at one boat owner, a middle-aged man. Seeing Ren-Yee was hesitant, the man told Ren-Yee, "The girl wants to take a ride." "What are you waiting for?" she said. "Becoming timid now? You are my big brother." Ren-Yee held her hand, and guided her on board before boarding himself. There was a river named Bei near his hometown. He grew up by the river, and loved boats. Tour boat on East Lake. The boatman rowed with his oars, and the boat quickly moved away from land. Yanfang and Ren-Yee enjoyed the breeze on the lake almost immediately. The boat was moving closer and closer to the Lake Heart Pavilion, which was at the center of the lake. Ren-Yee asked, "Do you know what the original name was for Lake Heart Pavilion?" "Lake Light Pavilion. That was not its name before 1949, Yanfang said. "What was it?" "It was called Zhongjing Pavilion." "Ah, I remember now. Someone dedicated it to Chiang Kai-shek." Ren-Yee smiled. "Yes." Xiaoduan was an expert at flattering. Xiaoduan was the top official at Wuhan who built the pavilion to celebrate Chiang Kai-shek's 50th birthday in 1931. They say that old Chiang was a pretty good husband. Yes. Old Chiang became a Christian before marrying Sung Meiling. Ren-Yee continued. He married a young and beautiful woman. Of course he would be a good husband. That's not true. There are always younger and prettier women. You're right. Temptation is everywhere. Yanfang said. He was a good man. Did you bring your camera? She pointed at her bag next to her and said, "Don't feel like taking pictures today. I just want to enjoy the moment." Both were amazed at the beauty of the lake and the surrounding mountains and forest. Ren-Yee said, "Want to hear some music?" "What kind of music?" "Classical music." Ren-Yee took out his cell phone and a pair of earphones. He gave one earphone to Yanfang and inserted the other into his ear. He played a recording of John Pachelbel's Canon in D major. After listening for a minute, Yanfang said happily, "It sounds like two people walking into church together." Who could say that was not the case? Ren-Yee nodded. The two continued listening. Near the end of the music, she said, "Was it a show of fireworks? Celebrating a wedding?" He smiled and shook his head. "God's love is colorful and wonderful," she said. "Both are about love. They mean the same thing." The music ended. Then Yanfang added, "It's a really nice piece." Ren-Yee said, "You have an excellent musical sense." "Of course. My visual sense is also excellent." Ren-Yee knew that she meant she could read people very well. He was tempted to say, "I will run away shortly. It would not be too late to boast about your visual sense afterward." But he only smiled at her. She said, "The music is so unique. It has no long-duration note, said Ren-Yee. The composer only used short notes. It's like an oil painting in which the painter uses only short brushstrokes. Yes, that's what it is, agreed Yanfang. He painted the world of our souls. Then Ren-Yee grabbed her hand. Both smiled happily with the beautiful lake scenery in front of them. Lujia Mountain. The boat moved south and approached Lujia Mountain, which was next to Wuhan University's campus. 40 minutes later, the boat docked at a wharf. Ren-Yee and Yanfang went ashore. The boatman waited. Ren-Yee didn't notice a black car parked by the lakeside road, in which two plainclothes policemen were watching him and Yanfang. Ren-Yee was familiar with Lujia Mountain. In fact, he and Yong-Shee had combed through a few trails around Wuhan University campus when they stayed at her parents' home on vacations. He led Yanfang to one trail, which meandered through dense woods and up a hill. After a while, they reached the top and found an open and rocky area. The two sat down on a boulder and enjoyed the scenery of the East Lake. Ren-Yee told Yanfang about Lin Jianhan and why he might be on the run because of the cockpit voice tape. Yanfang was very surprised that Ren-Yee got involved in such dangerous pursuit. Ren-Yee also told her he was in danger and would run away soon. Yanfang was quite angry. Ren-Yee explained to her that he had no other option left. After staying on the mountain top for half an hour, the two began to descend. Far away from Ren-Yee and Yanfang, on the waterfront near Xingyin Pavilion, two policemen, one in a blue suit and one in a gray jacket, were looking for a boat over the water. The man in the gray jacket suddenly shouted, "Hey, they're back!" Blue Suit immediately took out his cell phone and reported to his boss. The boat carrying Ren-Yee and Yanfang appeared over the water in the distance. 10 minutes later, realizing the boat was going to dock at a different location, the Blue Suit suddenly shouted, "Go to the gate!" Gray Jacket also saw the boat was heading towards the park gate, and not coming back to Xingyin Pavilion. "Shoot!" He quickly turned around and ran toward a paved road. The two men ran along the road toward a bridge with tall arches. They did not slow down much. After Blue Suit passed the high point of the bridge, one of his legs softened and his body rolled around a few times on the way down. His cell phone shattered into pieces and scattered across a wide area. Gray Jacket was ahead. He heard the noise and looked back. "You good-for-nothing moron!" he shouted. Blue Suit didn't speak. He quickly got up, collected the pieces of his cell phone and resumed running. Gray Jacket entered the Lu Lang Wening, or Willow Wave Listen Warbler, area. He was suddenly hit in the head by a willow branch swinging in wind. He fell. Blue Suit laughed and shouted, "You good-for-nothing idiot!" Gray Jacket got up, shook his head, and continued running. When the boat reached a wooden pier, the two men also arrived, panting heavily. The two no longer bothered to conceal their intentions. They gasped while watching, as Ren-Yee and Yanfang got off the boat. Ren-Yee paid the boatman. Ren-Yee and Yanfang saw the two men, and knew the two men were policemen. With the two men trailing behind, Ren-Yee and Yanfang walked toward the park gate. Yanfang told Ren-Yee softly, "I don't recognize these two men. They sent two men you don't know to tail me. Are you all right?" she asked in concern. "I am all right." They seemed to understand each other quite well. After walking out of the park, Ren-Yee and Yanfang came to a gift shop by the parking lot. They entered and started browsing around the store. The two policemen waited outside the shop. Inside the shop, Yanfang opened her handbag and found that her wallet was missing. She asked, "Huh? Where is my wallet? Is it in your car? That's not possible. Where else can it be? I will go take a look." She walked out of the shop, toward her car. He picked up a book full of colorful photographs of East Lake in different seasons. Blue Suit and Gray Jacket chatted with each other outside the shop. Yanfang reached her beige car, opened the driver's side door, and got in. Ren-Yee suddenly put down the book and rushed out of the shop. The two men were stunned, as Ren-Yee ran toward the beige car. The two men ran toward their car. Yanfang had started her car, and was moving toward the parking lot exit. As soon as Ren-Yee got inside, the beige car zoomed onto the road. By the time the two policemen had hurried into their gray car, the beige car was long gone. Yanfang smiled after she took a quick glance at the rearview mirror, convinced that she had got rid of the gray car. She was excited, as if she were in a James Bond movie. Ren-Yee turned to her, gave her a thumbs up and a big grin. As the car approached a crossroads, he said calmly, "Turn right here." She turned right, and stopped quickly. He shook her hand and said, "Drive slowly." He got out of the car quickly and closed the door. The beige car left. He walked into a small convenience store nearby. In the gray car, Gray Jacket was driving. Deputy Captain Ma's anxious voice came through a transceiver. "Where did the car go?" Blue Suit said, "I think it turned left on Wuhan Avenue." "You think?" asked Gray Jacket. "Yes. Look for it." Ma's booming voice echoed in the car. In the store, Ren-Yee looked at the street through a window. He didn't see anything unusual, and felt relieved. He walked to the checkout counter, where a middle-aged man was assisting a customer. Ren-Yee asked, "Is there a store nearby selling mobile phones?" The man said, "Yes. Go right for 2 blocks. It's across the street." "Thank you." Ren-Yee walked out. On the sidewalk, he took out his cell phone and looked at it. He had already turned it off back on Luojia Mountain, because he knew the police would track his movement through his cell phone. If he had turned on his cell phone, even if he didn't make a call, his location would have been exposed. He needed a new phone. Where did the Lin cousins go? He thought as he walked. Starting a technology company in China was out of the question now. Ren-Yee was not disappointed. He no longer had any interest in starting a company. But he couldn't forget the audio tape. Following the store clerk's direction, Ren-Yee came to a mobile phone service shop. The shop was dark, and the counter was dusty. A man was eating with a takeout box in his hand. He was happy to sell Ren-Yee a Chinese-made phone and a new SIM card. On the sidewalk, Ren-Yee used the new phone to call his wife. Jin Yong-Shee asked, "Why did you call my cell? I can't use my old cell phone anymore. I'll be using this new phone from now on. Don't use the landline phone to talk to me in the future." Jin Yong-Shee was taken aback. "Why? The Chinese police is after me." "I just got rid of them." "Oh my God! Where are you now?" "I am in Wuchang." "Where will you live?" "I haven't figured it out yet." "Did you contact any old friends?" "No." "Don't worry about it. I am a man. It will not be a problem. I've been thinking about this for a few days now." "You can contact Lu Hanjie," said Yong-Shee. Hiding in his home for a month should not be a problem. Lu Hanjie was one of Ren-Yee's high school classmates. After graduating from university, he started working for Wuhan Municipal Power Company. Ren-Yee said, "No. He works in a state-owned enterprise. If I get caught, what would happen to him?" "What will you do then?" "Call my dad on the landline at home. Tell him that I'm fine. When the police ask them for my whereabouts, they should just say we don't know. However, don't share this new number with anyone. You should immediately call the U.S. consulate. Let them know your situation." "No, that's not necessary. I will hang up now," Yong-Shee said. "Wait. What's the rush? I really don't have time. Don't call me. Just wait for my call. Goodbye." Ren-Yee hung up the phone. Yong-Shee had wanted to tell him about participating in the Happy Marriage Journey lecture series offered at another church on Saturdays. She wanted to say that she had realized she had been naive, she wanted to improve herself, and that she missed him very much. Getting rid of the two policemen was the first time that Ren-Yee and Yanfang had done something important together. A pleasant joint venture? He thought. Even tacit communication worked perfectly, as if they had been married for many years. He was glad that he had not refused Yanfang's visit at noon, and felt fortunate and blessed for escaping. Ren-Yee knew that if he were in the United States and his friends had run away after a burglary, he could have gone to a police station with a statement like, "I don't have the whereabouts of Lin Jianhan and Lin Jianyou," and continue his life as normal. But in China, human rights were routinely trampled by the communist government. Many people were forced under torture to confess to crimes they did not commit. Some were beaten to death during detention. Human rights are not protected here. A.U.S. passport is no guarantee either, Ren-Yee reminded himself again in his heart. He hadn't expected to become a fugitive so quickly, but he couldn't involve relatives or friends. Where will I go tonight? Before finding a place to spend the night, Ren-Yee had one more thing to do. He decided to take a bus instead of a taxi. It was already dark. Ren-Yee walked to a bus stop and found there were already over a dozen people waiting. It was a stop shared by 5 or 6 bus routes. He took out his new cell phone and figured out which bus he should take. After waiting for 10 minutes, he got on a bus. 30 minutes later, Ren-Yee got out of the bus. He walked along a busy street for a while. Then he saw the neon sign of Huilong Restaurant 100 yards away. He found a noodle shop nearby and went in. After a bowl of beef noodle, Ren-Yee walked onto the street. He carefully observed the cars parked near the Huilong Restaurant and the pedestrians on the street. He was quite certain there was no police surveillance near the restaurant. However, he preferred waiting in the distance. In the Wuchang branch bureau, Xiao Zichang was in a terrible mood. Ho Ren-Yee had escaped, and furthermore, he escaped with help from Luo Yanfang. Xiao gnashed his teeth in rage. In the past, he would have been furious in front of his men, but because his wife was involved, Xiao made every effort to control his rage. What a rat! A country bumpkin setting his sight on my wife, thought Xiao. He was determined to capture Ho Ren-Yee. When that happened, he would take his revenge. After work, Xiao put his troubles aside temporarily. He knew how to relax. He was an expert on relaxation, because he had been under pressure from work, pressure to make money for years. If he hadn't figured out how to relax, he would have been crushed under all the pressure. 9 o'clock at night, Xiao, 3 men, and 2 young women were drinking and playing mahjong in a suite in Fulin Hotel. The suite had a large living room, beautifully decorated, with a mahjong table at a corner. Xiao's cell phone rang. He looked at the phone screen and got up. He said, "Peach, why don't you play for me?" The girl named Peach answered cheerfully, "Sure, director." Xiao walked into the bedroom and closed the door before answering his phone. "Old Lu, what's going on?" Lu Wenhui was on the other end. "Are you sure about the connection between Ho Ren-Yee and Lin Jianhan?" Xiao was a little dazed from the liquor he consumed. But he quickly became alert. "I am sure of it. Ho Ren-Yee called Lin Jianhan's company phone this morning, and went to Lin Jianhan's apartment. When he didn't find Lin Jianhan, and realized that something was not right, he escaped in the evening." Hearing no comment from Lu, Xiao continued. "Ho Ren-Yee went to see the family of a June 4th agitator early this morning," Lu said. "Looks like he is not a simple guy. We were going to arrest him tonight. Somehow he managed to run away before we took action. We're tracking him down now. He is an American citizen. Don't go overboard." Xiao was not happy. He said in a firm tone, "He is a suspect in a burglary that took place at the state's secret archive. I will deal with him by the book." Lu Wenhui was silent for a few seconds. Then he said, "Little Ho is a nerd. Don't haggle over small things with him." Xiao grew even angrier. "A redneck from Huanggang actually seduced my wife? This is getting out of hand. Huimin spoke to me about this. Ho just took little Luo on a sightseeing tour. He took her into the woods. Calm down, calm down. Calm down? I have been very calm." Realizing that saying more would not help, Lu said, "That's good. Goodbye." He hung up. Xiao slammed his fist on a dresser.